and having a lovely session with us. And today, let me give a small intro about Federico. He's a PhD. He owns a PhD in computer science, and also he's a co-founder of Abstractica. Let's put your hands together and welcome our speaker for today, Federico. Over to you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Should I start?
Yeah.
Okay, let me share my screen. Can you see the screen now? The presentation?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So it's a pleasure for me to be here. It's really early in the morning for me. And it's I'm really glad, I'm really happy to be participating in this community. So thank you for the opportunity. Today, I will be talking about low-code for test automation, a state-of-the-art research we did in Abstracta. Let me introduce myself a little bit more. I've been in software testing for 17 years already. I'm one of the co-founders of Abstracta, which is basically a company dedicated to software testing. We help our customers to deliver quality products by helping them with functional testing, test automation, performance testing, and customizing testing tools. And I typically share software testing content in my podcast, in different talks. I have a book, and I typically write articles. And I'm one of the co-founders of the largest testing conference in Uruguay, and well, different things. And here you can see some pictures from one of the last backpacking trips we did with my wife. We really enjoy outdoors here in California. We are originally from Uruguay. This picture here is a mate, which is a kind of tea that we typically drink. But let's get into the topic today. So we will be talking about local, and as you can see here in this graph from Google Trends, it's something that is getting more popularity in the last few years. And it has a reason, because of the continued delivery agile methodologies, or the pressure of the market, we need to release quickly and frequently. And as testers, we need to provide early and quick feedback. And because of that, we need to include test automation in our testing. So the problem with traditional tools, with traditional test automation tools, is that they require coding skills. And this is a problem in the particular context we are now, which that there is a shortage of available software engineers. So that's why I think low code is a great alternative, because we can do test automation without requiring coding skills. So we decided to do a state-of-the-art research on the available tools, because sometimes we know that it's really difficult for you to make an informed decision, because the information about all the tools and which characteristics they provide, sometimes it's very difficult to get that information. So what we wanted to do is to try to understand all the options out there, and try to see the different characteristics and the different functionalities that they provide, and give you a centralized place where you can easily compare the different options. So this is a work in progress research. And I wanted to take the opportunity to also thank Danny Gutierrez, who was also working with me in this research. I organized the talk in 4 different parts. I will start giving a brief introduction to low code for test automation. I will present the results of the research. And probably the most important part of the talk is that, considering our experience, more than 15 years doing test automation, and what we learned doing this research, we came up with a list of different items, different things that you should take into account, into consideration when deciding which is the best tool for you, for your context, right? And I will finish the presentation with some closing remarks. So what is low-code? Low-code basically is an alternative approach to software development, not requiring coding skills. So if we take this to test automation, basically it's an alternative scripting language. I will say in most of the cases, they provide a record and playback approach with a graphical editor. Sometimes it's very difficult to draw a line and to say, okay, this is a low-code solution, this is not. As the term is getting more popular, different companies started to adopt that term and proclaim themselves as a low-code solution. But there are some other tools that are also in this space that they are not saying they are a low-code solution. So, but yeah, we are considering those tools for this research. And to give you an idea of the different flavors of low-code, I have some examples here. In some cases, they provide like a scripting, something similar to a script, but in like in different boxes. In the combo boxes, you can select the action that you want to do and then fill the information of the different parameters for that specific action. Then you have some other alternatives that are more graphical. I mean, you have a directed graph representing the flow of your script, and each box in this case has a small screen capture of the area where you are doing the action, so it's easier to understand the script. And in some other cases, they provide a domain-specific language, a DSL, which is easier to learn than a general programming language like Java or Python or JavaScript. Because it has a higher level of abstraction, right? But they are also another type of solution of low-code solution. So let's get into the results of this research. Before I want to explain a little bit how was our methodology for performing the research, because this is something that I learned by when I did the PhD. Basically, this is a methodology for a guideline for doing systematic literature reviews proposed by Barbara Kitchenham. And this is a simplification, but basically what it says is that we should decide which sources, where are we going to perform our search. We have to predefine our search string, which basically is the keywords that we are going to use, the synonyms and the different operators. And beforehand, we have to define which is our inclusion and exclusion criteria in order to have a clear scope of what we are trying to find. And also we need to define our results form, which is basically a spreadsheet with the different columns with all the information that we want to gather from from each of the results. In our case, what we did was to decide to search just in Google, because we are assuming that all the vendors want to appear in Google. So I think it's a valid assumption. Our search string basically is low-code and different ways, different words that represent the same meaning, because in some cases, instead of using low-code, the tools use the word scriptless or codeless or no-code, but they all represent the same idea. Plus the testing, because we want to discard all the low-code solutions for other things, right? Our inclusion and exclusion criteria basically is this time we are focusing on the tools that are specific for web and mobile, and we are not considering this time the tools that are only for a specific platform, like for Salesforce or for SAP or for Genexus or something like this. And we are only considering those tools that are self-service, I mean, software as a service that we can use from the cloud. In our results form, we are gathering information like how many years the tool is has been in the market, links to different resources, and information about the different functionalities, the different features, if they support web, mobile, if they have the possibility to call an API, and different things that I will go and describe later in the presentation. So another important thing is that we are testing, we are using some of the tools that we found, but in most of the information right now is the information that the vendors provide. So what they claim in the website. We are checking that information, but it's taking time. And again, this is a work in progress research. But some information is really hard to get, and we have to. In many cases, we have to contact the vendors, have a call with a demo, and ask specific questions, because not all the information is available in their website or in their tutorials or things like this. So just take that into consideration when reading the results. So as part of our methodology also, we already published a draft of the results in order to ask the testing community for feedback. If someone knows a tool that should be included and is not, or something like this. And we already added a few more based on the feedback that we received. And this is also a way to try to find if we have some blind spots. Because once someone recommends a tool that is not included in the list, we also ask ourselves why we didn't find that tool in the first place, right? Because maybe we had a problem with our search, with the search string, or something like this. So what about this? Try to guess how many tools did we find. I don't know if you can write it in the chat, maybe. Trying to imagine, after now that I described our methodology for doing the research, how many tools you think there are? Okay, I can read 40, 20, it's more. Now 8,000, maybe it's a lot, but let's see, 80, well, closer. So far we found 52, and here you can see all the logos of all the companies. Again, you can access I will share with you in the chat also our article if you want to check it later. Give me a second. Here you can see the list and read you also will find the links to the different tools if you want to check. But let's see some more information on some analysis on that. Here in this graph in the right, you can see how many tools appear per year, and you can see that there is some correlation with the first graph I showed, that after 2015 the number of tools appearing per year increased. So, and it's correlated to the fact that the low-code term is getting more popularity, right? Something that caught my eye is that most of the tools claim that they give support to both mobile and web. I was expecting something different. I thought that most of the tools were focusing on web only, but you can see here that 9 of the tools are focusing only on web, 3 only on mobile, and then we have 37 that support both platforms. And you can see here what I said before, that some information is really hard to find. there are 3 tools that we still don't know which platform they support, because that information that is essential, right? It's like the very basic information about that a test automation tool is not available in their site, it's not available in the tutorials or documentation they provide. We try to reach to them and ask them, and we didn't get that information yet. So I think this gives you an idea how hard it is to make an informed decision considering all the options out there, right? So before I give more details of the results of the research, I will go ahead and show you the different characteristics that for us are really important when deciding which is the best tool for you. So there are some things that are basic when you are trying to understand which is the best tool, any tool, not only test automation tools. Like you will want to check if they have a community, if they have support, documentation, how much time in the market they have, what the customers are saying about the tool, and if the tool is compatible with your platform. In this case, if you want to automate a mobile application, a native mobile application, you have to check if they give support to that. But when talking about test automation, I think there are 2 aspects that are really important when you are deciding which is your tool. One is how easy are the test cases to maintain, and the other is that you should be able to collaborate, because you are not going to be, it's really, I think in most of the situations, you are not going to be automating by yourself. You want to collaborate with other testers, with developers, with a product owner or someone else. So it's really important to consider that. And for that, there are different features that are basic in order to fulfill this. One of them is version control. And in my perspective, from my experience, if the tool doesn't give you the functionality to manage different versions, I think the tool is not ready to be used. I mean, you will want to try something new in a test case in a different branch, and if experiment or do something, and if it doesn't work, you want to move to the previous version, to the other branch. So this is something very, very essential. And I think you should check that the tool that you are considering offers some sort of version control. The same with data-driven testing, because you don't want to record or to prepare different test cases with the same test steps, but with different test data. What you want to do is to have one single test case and feed that test case from a database, from different files with different test data, which this is more or less the idea behind data-driven testing. So again, this is very important and very basic. I remember in one of the demos we had with one of the vendors, they were saying, oh, this is a great feature we have. We can parameterize the test cases. Well, I don't think this is a differential from your tool. I think this is something that you have to provide. Otherwise, you are not playing the game. I mean, you don't have a part in the competition, you know? So this is something very essential. The same with calling the ability to calling APIs, because even though we are talking about test automation at the UI level, we want to be able to call an API in order to set up the data, do some checks at the database level. Because in that way, your test cases are going to be faster and easier to maintain. And this is really, really important. And most of the cases, most of the tools also offer some sort of flexibility or extensibility by adding some JavaScript code or Python or Groovy or something. But if this is specifically for some situations, imagine your application has a specific component that is not recorded by the tool that you are considering. So you can ask a developer for help prepare some piece of code and put that piece of code in a box and then use this box in different parts of your test cases. If you don't have this flexibility in the tool, you will depend on the vendor a lot to give you support for that specific component that is not yet supported in the tool. So having this flexibility, I think, it's a very important capability in the tools that you should try to check if they have that. And modularization, the possibility to encapsulate different test steps and reusing those this module in different parts of your test cases. This is what's going to make your test suite easy to maintain. I don't care if they use machine learning to update automatically the locators and things like this. I understand that this functionality is what they are selling. It's like part of their sales pitch, and it can help to increase your productivity. But if you want to have a test automation that is easy to maintain, this is the most important part. If you're not able to reuse your test steps, you will it's gonna be a mess to maintain your test cases. So check that they offer some sort of modularization in the test scripting. Okay. Another thing is that you will want to run your test cases from your CI engine. So check that it's possible to run from here, and also to break the build when something goes wrong with the test cases. So check that connectivity between your CI engine and the test tool. And also, you will want to run your test automation in different browsers. In many tools, they offer like the possibility to run in a particular cloud, and or at least to integrate with something like Browser Stack or SoftLabs or a similar tool. Then there are other functionalities. Those I just mentioned, I think if they don't have one of these functionalities, it's like maybe that tool is not ready to be considered. Then there are other functionalities that I think they are great additions, but I will consider them after the others, right? So self-healing locators is great. Having the possibility to do visual testing is amazing, or at least the possibility to integrate with something like Apply tools. Gather information about performance metrics, at least the response times of each of the actions. This is and see how the response times evolve over time. In some cases, they offer accessibility checks and email validation to include specifically in those cases where you have two-factor authentication as part of your login, for example. So those are also things that you should check when you are analyzing which one is the best for you. But as you can see in this graph, there are some basic functionalities, those that I mentioned that are basic functionalities that are not present in all the tools. So our idea, and this is again a work in progress work, we are trying to do this categorization to try to understand which ones are the most competitive solution, the most complete solutions, which ones are okay, maybe they lack some functionality or something like this, but they are okay if you want to use them for test automation. And then we didn't include any yet because we want to be sure when we say this, but we want to also mention which tools are not yet ready. I mean, if, for example, if they don't offer version control as part of their functionalities, we will put that tool in that level. So we are testing the different tools and reviewing their documentation in order to provide this information that I think will make things easier for the one that is trying to understand which one is the best for their situation, right? To wrap up the presentation, I wanted to mention that we have experience with these tools. In particular, we have success stories. We are using successfully in real projects with these tools. And I think we need more success stories. But for that, it's not only paying attention to one sales pitch. We need to understand which tools are better for our context, which tools provide which functionalities, and also apply good practices and try to use the best practices for keep the test cases easy to maintain, for example. I would like to invite you to check this podcast episode where Katia Aronova interviewed her last year, and she shares her experience with one of these tools, but she mentioned something that is really interesting, which is when you are using an open source solution for test automation, and I mean, there are great open source solutions, but she says that we shouldn't think that open source means free, because when you're working with an open source solution, you have to take care of the framework or of building a framework. You have to prepare your test infrastructure, and you have to maintain all of that. And that has a cost in effort, in time, right? So the difference with this type of tools is that you log into the platform in the cloud, and you can start automating test cases right away. And that's a benefit, and I think you should put all these things into consideration when you are analyzing which is the best one for you, right? My takeaways for today, again, I think there is a momentum. There are people investing in this type of tools. There are many tools appearing every other week. There is a new tool in this space. And there are many companies using successfully these tools in real projects. So I think it's an established new alternative for test automation, and we will see these tools for longer. So we as testers, we should pay attention to them and try to understand in which cases we should use them, right? I think they are a great solution for our current context, as I said, with the possibility to include test automation even without requiring coding skills. But we have to be careful and thoughtful when we decide which tool we are going to use, and follow good engineering practices. This is key in order to success with this type of tools. And even though it's true, you don't need coding skills, I also wanted to mention that you need an engineer in the room, as I like to say, someone with a coding mindset, you know, because what we are doing in Abstracta is to form mixed teams with different levels of seniorities and different backgrounds. So there are some people with coding knowledge, and some people that they have experience in testing, or maybe they are junior developers, but it's their first job. And with that mix of backgrounds, we've been able to be successful with test automation with these tools, because you need someone with experience in coding to review the test cases, to assess what's the best test architecture, to assess how to modularize the test cases in order to foster the maintainability. And I think this is really key. And I see this as a win-win situation. It's a win for the testers because it's a new path for grow in their career. It's a win for the company because they are able to fulfill the need for test automation. And also it's a win for our industry because we need more and more people able to automate. And I think that's why it's a great solution and a win-win situation for everyone. So I would like to invite you to check and stay tuned with this article, because we will be sharing updates with more information as we continue our research. And I like to thank you all for your time, for your attention. And I hope we have some time for questions. Otherwise, you can also reach out in social media, or you have my email here. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Federico. It was really wonderful session where you gave us very good insight. So if audience, if you have any questions, please drop in your Q&A session or in a chat box on. And also, if we cannot answer your questions now, we will answer in our Discord channel. And also, it's a small gentle reminder for all the audiences that we have few contests going on. So we are looking forward for it. But before that, let's welcome our another host, Manish, for the quiz.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Federico. Means I would say that you did the very inside research on the Codless and the trend which you found on the Google. So really appreciate. So, and thanks for sharing the question also with us for this quiz. And so let me share my screen quickly so we can have a quiz with everyone. Okay, guys. So this is the leaderboard from the last quiz, and hope you are ready. So some of people are getting some issues. They are switching between this like mobile to the laptop or system. So I would recommend, if you are doing that, do register with the Slido, because if you are as a guest user, you will not get your own session in another device. Okay, because technically how they will manage. Okay, so you register with the Slido, then only you can switch the device. Okay, thanks. So let's start then. Here you go with the first question. Okay, around 50. Even I could recall the same. Yes. So ready for next question? Here you go. Okay, 94% and 6% only. No. It's not always have all of the above, but sometime you guys might be lucky. Still 13% going with the mobile and web. Let's see what is the correct answer then. All of the above. Okay, so next question. Okay, none of the above. Okay, so recently we just heard that the version controlling is possible in one of the presenter. So not sure. Yeah, moving to the last question for this session. Ready, guys? Here you go. 100%. Yes, that is true. And guys, hope you're ready to see the leaderboard now. Who is leading? So there is slight change in the leaderboard. Okay, even we have a top 10. So guys, stay tuned. We will have another quiz soon. And after that, we will finalize who is the winner of the day. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Sain.
Yep, thank you. I hope you all are having fun with the quiz. It's actually very refreshing for me as well. So there is one question for you, Federico, if you want me to read. How to plan a migration if you already have a couple of tools established and both can support same areas for testing?
Yeah, this is a great question, and I think there are many people in that situation. What we have done in the past for migrating this type of tools, even though I remember in one case we migrated from Selenium to WebDriver IO, but it's the same methodology can be applied here. I would say that there are different approaches. One is the big one. It's like, okay, we start preparing everything, and there is one day when we start using one tool and we start using the other. Then there is another, which is start migrating in parallel. Maybe you have 100 test cases in, let's say, Selenium, and you want to move to a local platform. So you start running both in parallel. Like you have one test case, you migrate one, you start with the other one, right? And then in parallel, you also could try to migrate one by one, but continuing running both in parallel, because by doing that, you can also check if there are differences in the results. But this is mainly to decide when to start running one and the other. But for the migration, we also have been working in doing like converters, try to prepare like a tool that parses the original script and try to generate a script in the other one. But that's an investment also in development. And I think it could make sense depending on the number of test cases that you have automated. I would like to learn about other people experiences on that, because it's like a huge challenge, mainly when you already invested a lot of effort on a test automation solution.
Okay, so I hope we answered your question, Jay Kumar. Thank you for asking the questions. And whoever couldn't ask the questions during the session, please feel free to ask us in our offline session, that is Discord channel. You can post your questions and we will answer your questions. Okay, there is one more question. Do we need to migrate or keep legacy and execute and adapt new? A question from...
Yeah, I mean, we can keep both. Especially when you are not paying a license for your current solution, because in many cases, if you, for example, you have, I don't know, a tool from that you are paying a license, and you are starting to use another tool, and you will also pay a license for that. Probably in that case, you want to migrate everything.
Okay.
I don't know,
Makes
but
sense.
yeah, but if you are using an open source solution, maybe, yeah, that's true. You can keep your current test automation for the test cases that you already have there, and start with the other one for the new one, the new ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Good point.
So that's it for today, I guess. So please do share your questions in our Discord channel. Do reach us out for any other questions. And thank you so much for the session today, Federico. It was really insightful and wonderful.
Thank you for having me. A pleasure.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
So yeah, bye. So audience, gentle reminder for today, that is like we might have Hello, audience. Gentle reminder that we have few quizzes that we announced today, but unfortunately, we couldn't see anything on the board. Maybe you are very busy with our sessions, but never mind. You can still share your quiz questions there. We have three quizzes there for day one. That is quiz contest for. You're gonna have a quiz winner with us for a selfie contest where you have to tag us hashtag QA Talks and hashtag Codeless Conference 2022, and also we're gonna have a key takeaway conference where you have to mention all the details with us and make sure to tag us on LinkedIn and Twitter. So okay.
Yeah. So yeah, can you show it again? Means I believe people want to see means what they will get it as a selfie content.
Let me quickly share again. So we are having three contests. Sorry. Yes, so we are going to have three contests, which is going to be like we're going to have a winner for prize one is 2,000 rupees, and winner for prize two is 1,500, and winner for prize three is 10,000 rupees. And also, please do share us, tag us, and mention us in all the social media platforms. This is for all paid and unpaid registered members. And there is next another contest, which is selfie contest, where you have to take a selfie of the conference and using a hashtag Codeless Conference 2022. You can tag us on Twitter and LinkedIn so that you can get wonderful rewards and gifts. And also we have key takeaway concert. So please do remember to tag us on both the platforms and share your feedback and conference and win a swag rewards with that. And there is also an active participation award contest where the active person who is in the conference from even they're gonna get some awards for that, rewards for that. And do share this link, do join us in Discord channel for asking our various questions regarding the conference. And that's it. So people who are in this session, please go back to the lobby and join our next session, which is of Muller. We will see you there. Please end the session and go back to the lobby, and from there you can join the other session.